There is a planet in our solar system that most people think they understand. It is the largest planet, the most recognizable, the one with the famous storm, the one that children draw in school projects, a big striped ball with a red spot. Familiar, known, understood. It is not understood at all. Jupiter is the most powerful, the most violent, and the most consequential object in the solar system after the sun itself. And almost everything most people believe about it is either incomplete or completely wrong. Before we go further, if Jupiter looks different to you after this video, if the solar system feels stranger and more extreme than you ever imagined, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Every subscriber helps us keep making these documentaries. Now let's go to Jupiter. Start with the size. Not the size most people imagine, yet the size that actually exists. Jupiter is so large that all 7 other planets in the solar system could fit inside it simultaneously, not one at a time. All of them at once, with room to spare. Earth, placed next to Jupiter, is approximately the size of a grape next to a basketball. Everything you have ever known, every continent, every ocean, every city, every person who has ever lived exists on the surface of something that is, by Jupiter's scale, a small stone. But size alone is not what makes Jupiter terrifying. What makes Jupiter terrifying is what it is made of, what it does and what it has been doing to the rest of the solar system for 4.5 billion years. Jupiter is not a rocky planet. It has no surface. There's nowhere to stand, nowhere to land, nowhere to set foot. Jupiter is almost entirely gas, hydrogen and helium, the same elements that make up stars. If Jupiter had been approximately 80 times more massive than it is, the pressure and temperature at its core would have been sufficient to ignite nuclear fusion. Jupiter would have become a star. Our solar system would have had 2 suns. Earth, caught between them, would have been baked sterile. Jupiter did not become a star, but it kept everything that makes a star terrifying at the scale, the pressure, the violence, without the nuclear fire that would have made it visible from light years away. Beneath the cloud layers that we can observe from Earth and from spacecraft, Jupiter's interior is one of the most extreme environments in the solar system. The pressure increases with depth so dramatically that hydrogen, normally a gas, is compressed into a liquid. Deeper still, the pressure is so extreme that the hydrogen becomes something that does not exist anywhere on Earth and cannot be replicated in any laboratory, metallic hydrogen. Hydrogen so compressed that its electrons move freely through it, like electrons move through metal, conducting electricity, conducting heat, flowing in enormous convection currents that generate Jupiter's extraordinary magnetic field. And here's where everything changes. Jupiter's magnetic field is the most powerful planetary magnetic field in the solar system. It is 14 times stronger than Earth's magnetic field. It extends outward from Jupiter for millions of kilometers in every direction, so far that if Jupiter's magnetosphere were visible to the naked eye, it would appear larger than the full moon in Earth's sky. This magnetic field is not just large, it is extraordinarily violent. Charged particles from the sun's solar wind, from Jupiter's own volcanic moon Io, from the interstellar medium, are captured by Jupiter's magnetic field and accelerated to enormous energies. They are trapped in radiation belts surrounding the planet, circling endlessly, slamming into anything that enters the field with energies that dwarf anything found in Earth's radiation environment. The radiation belts of Jupiter are among the most lethal environments in the solar system. A human being placed in Jupiter's radiation belts without protection would receive a fatal radiation dose within minutes. The electronics of spacecraft are damaged and degraded by the radiation, even with heavy shielding. The Galileo probe, which orbited Jupiter for 8 years, had its instruments damaged progressively by the radiation it was designed to study. The Juno spacecraft, currently orbiting Jupiter, carries a radiation vault, a titanium box designed to protect its most sensitive electronics from the continuous bombardment. But that's still not what makes Jupiter truly terrifying. The moon Io sits within Jupiter's innermost radiation belt. Io is the most volcanically active object in the entire solar system. More active than Earth, more active than any other moon, more active than anything else we have found anywhere. Io has more than 400 active volcanoes. Some of its volcanic plumes extend 500 kilometers above its surface. The lava temperatures on Io exceed those found anywhere on Earth, and Io is active because of Jupiter. Jupiter's gravity factor and the gravitational interaction between Io, Europa, and Ganymede, the three moons in orbital resonance with Io, squeezes and stretches Io continuously as it orbits. The tidal flexing generates heat within Io's interior. That heat drives the volcanism. The volcanism ejects sulfur dioxide and other material into Jupiter's magnetic field. That material is ionized, trapped in the field, and contributes to the radiation environment. Jupiter is not just a planet, it is a system, a machine. Everything within its sphere of influence is connected. The magnetic field, the radiation, the volcanic moon, the tidal forces, all interacting, all amplifying each other, all operating at scales and energies that make the inner solar system look calm by comparison. And here's where everything changes again. For 4.5 billion years, Jupiter has been the solar system's gatekeeper. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter is not what it should be. According to the models of planetary formation, the asteroid belt should have coalesced into a planet. It did not, because Jupiter's gravity continuously perturbs the orbits of the asteroid belt's objects, preventing them from accumulating into a larger body. Jupiter's gravity has been stirring the asteroid belt for 4.5 billion years, and the consequences of that stirring are not confined to the asteroid belt. Jupiter deflects objects from the outer solar system, comets from the Kuiper belt, and the Oort cloud gravitationally. Some of those deflections send comets inward toward the inner solar system. Some of those comets intersect with Earth. In 1994, astronomers watched as comet Shoemaker Levy 9, a comet that had been captured by Jupiter's gravity and torn apart by tidal forces, impacted Jupiter in a series of 21 strikes. The largest impact released energy equivalent to roughly 600 times the world's entire nuclear arsenal. The impact scar in Jupiter's atmosphere was larger than Earth itself. Jupiter catches things and Jupiter throws things. The question of whether Jupiter is ultimately a protector of the inner solar system, intercepting comets that would otherwise hit Earth, or a threat, deflecting objects into Earth-crossing orbits that they would not have otherwise reached, is one that scientists have been debating for decades. The current scientific consensus leans toward Jupiter playing a complex dual role. Protective in some scenarios, threatening in others. What is not debated is that Jupiter's gravitational influence on the rest of the solar system is enormous, continuous, and has shaped the history of every planet in the system, including Earth. There is something about the Great Red Spot that most people do not know. The Great Red Spot is a storm, but the scale of this storm is almost impossible to process. The Great Red Spot is wider than Earth. It has been raging continuously for at least 350 years since it was first observed by astronomers in the 17th century. The wind speeds within the storm exceed 500 kilometers per hour, but here's what almost nobody knows about the Great Red Spot. It is shrinking. When astronomers first began making careful measurements, the Great Red Spot was large enough to contain 3 Earths side by side. Today it is large enough to contain approximately 1 Earth. It has been shrinking consistently for the past several decades. Scientists do not fully understand why the storm that has outlasted every human civilization, every empire, every nation that has ever existed is dying. And we are watching it happen in real time, and we do not understand why. The Great Red Spot may be gone within our lifetimes. The most iconic feature of the most iconic planet, the feature that has existed since before the United States was founded, before the French Revolution, before the Industrial Revolution, may disappear within decades. And there is one more thing about Jupiter that almost nobody talks about. Jupiter radiates more energy than it receives from the sun. The planet generates its own heat, left over from its formation 4.5 billion years ago, when the gravitational compression of the Proto-Jovian cloud converted gravitational potential energy into thermal energy. That heat has been slowly radiating outward ever since. Jupiter is still cooling from its formation. It will continue cooling for billions of years. This means Jupiter is not just a planet reflecting sunlight, it is a heat source. a dying remnant of a star that never ignited, still warm, still radiating, still pumping energy into the space around it from a process that began 4.5 billion years ago. The largest planet in the solar system is a failed star that is still cooling from the moment of its birth. Here is what stays with you. When you look at Jupiter in the night sky, just a bright point of light, brighter than any star, moving slowly against the fixed stars, you are looking at something that has shaped the history of Earth more profoundly than any other object in the solar system except the Sun. Jupiter's gravity stirred the asteroid belt and sent objects crashing into the early Earth, delivering water, delivering organic molecules, possibly delivering the chemical precursors of life itself. Jupiter's gravity has deflected countless comets and asteroids, removing some that would have hit Earth, redirecting others. Jupiter's radiation environment is so extreme that any life-bearing moon in its system would need to be deep below the surface of a liquid ocean, insulated from the radiation by kilometers of ice and water. Jupiter does not care about any of this. Jupiter is a machine operating according to gravity and thermodynamics and fluid dynamics, following the same physical laws it has followed for 4.5 billion years. The solar system formed around it. The inner planets formed in its shadow. Earth formed in the gravitational landscape it created. Everything we know, every civilization, every person, every moment of human history happened in the gravitational shadow of a failed star. Look up at Jupiter tonight. It is the brightest object in the sky after the sun and moon. It has been watching everything. It is not what you thought it was.